Good morning guys, today is Sunday. Welcome to the day, and it's early morning right now, as you can probably tell by the sun gleaming on my face. And I have today a very new motorcycle that I'm riding for the first time, the Royal Enfield 500X Thunderbird. So this is supposed to be a very small sort of hands-on and introductory session on the bike. I've been riding this for the last 2 days now, and I have come to know about the ins and outs of the bike. And what do I like about the bike is essentially what this video is going to be. The things which I don't quite like might be another video, I'm not sure. But this video is more or less about the things that I find really nice about the bike, and maybe a couple of things which Royal Enfield can actually change or maybe take care of in the future iterations. So let's start the video, and thank you for sticking in guys. Let's start with the Royal Enfield Thunderbird X 500. Well, so far Thunderbird ownership has generally involved a set of rituals. Maybe buy one source aftermarket alloys for it, add some auxiliary lamps and all that, and you're good to go. Well, not anymore. Now Royal Enfield, it seems, knows what works for them, and they've decided to actually step in and save you the actual trouble of a trip down the aftermarket lane. So this is the Thunderbird X, the urban focused take on Royal Enfield's popular cruiser. Well, wannabe cruiser, to be honest. This is the 500X, as you can see. This also comes in another variant, which is the 350X. The engines are essentially the same. The only thing which changes are the color schemes, that too only on the fuel tank, as you see here in the 500X variant that I'm riding here for a few days now. Alright, essentially the mechanical part of the bike is more or less the same. Both the new Thunderbird variants is the same engine and gearbox as the standard Thunderbird range. So the 350cc, which is the smaller sibling of this one, uses a 350cc engine which is about 19.5 bhp and 20 Nm of torque. This, on the other hand, is the 499cc engine, the bigger brother or the bigger sibling of the 350cc engine. So this one develops 27.2 bhp and 41.3 Nm of torque, which is pretty decent, I would say. Both these engines are mated to the same 5-speed gearbox which the Thunderbird already has. So this is the 500X, of course, that I am riding. One important thing which the 500X, or rather the Thunderbird X as the Royal Enfield calls it, has is lack of chrome, which you don't see in this bike anymore. So that is one thing which has been changed substantially, and I like it. Instead, it has all the black matte finish, as you can see in the engine cover, on the exhaust and stuff like that, which is very interesting. Also, they have shot it with a pair of 19 in the front and 18 at the rear tires. The paint job has actually been changed as well, because it's bright and simple, although somehow I feel it might have drawn some sort of an inspiration from Triumph's classic motorcycles. Well, that's what I felt the first time I looked at the motorcycle. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's how I felt. Another thing which I love about the Thunderbird X is the headlamp cluster. So the headlamp dome that you see here is a very nice matte black finish. I mean, this is almost like the Royal Enfield guys have thought to make it a really nice and well designed sort of a headlight dome. Also, the fork, front fork, is blacked out as well, which is also a very nice thing. I mean, these are the things I personally like. I do not like much chrome on my machine, so that way it is a really nice inclusion that Royal Enfield has decided to do away with the bright chrome that they usually do, and they've actually taken a matte black sort of a path, which I personally really love. Seating posture is really comfortable. The handlebars aren't nearly as ape looking as it was on the earlier versions. This one is more comfortable. The foot peg is really at a position where you can probably relax and ride this bike for long distances. So overall, the riding posture gets a big thumbs up from my end. So apart from the 19-inch and the 18-inch wheel size in the front and the rear, the tire sizes are 90 by 90 the front and 120 by 80 in the rear. So that is what is on the tire front. It still works, I would say, but I would have probably preferred a 17-inch size. That might have made it a little bit more flickier when it comes to city riding. But it seems Royal Enfield thinks otherwise, which is fine actually, to be frank. Well, the question is then, is it any different to ride? Well, not really, because the engine remains essentially the same units. So till about 3500 RPM, the ride is really nice, the ride is really smooth. Once it crosses 3500 RPM though, vibrations do creep in from the handlebar and the foot peg essentially, but nothing that you can't manage. So that is one thing which you need to understand. There is no ABS, although both the sides get disc brakes. Braking is decent. I wouldn't say it is class leading. It's decent, you know, it gets the job done. But one thing which I really kind of is in a mess is probably the gear shifter, because it travels a little too much, you know. The travel should be a little less. So the gear shifter travels a little bit, which makes it a real uncomfortable ride at times. Especially given that riding posture, you know, the feet forward riding posture means that, you know, the gear shift becomes a little bit of a problem at times. Also new in this model, at least which I'm riding, it has the optional accessories pack, which includes this, the rear, rear backrest, as you can call it. This is new. Also new is the leg guard, which is very important when it comes to a motorcycle like this, or any motorcycle for that matter. Because just in case you drop it or you bang it somewhere, it will make sure that, you know, your engine casing, your gearbox is saved. So the question is, should you buy it? Well, if you are not really someone who looks forward to the smaller cruisers, namely the Bajaj Avenger or the Suzuki Intruder 150, you can actually look at the Thunderbird X range of motorcycles. It's bigger as far as the engine is concerned. It's got more power, more torque, so that way you are sorted, you know. Also, the massive 20-litre fuel tank helps a lot if you are into motorcycle touring. At about 1.95 to 1.98 lakh rupees ex-showroom, it is not really cheap, but then again that 7 to 8,000 or 9,000 rupees of difference that this has with the earlier version is actually really justified because of the matte finish and the alloy wheels and whatnot. So overall, if you're looking at a decent cruiser with a beautiful look and a riding stance that's really nice, and overall big fuel tank and all that jazz, then you can actually look at the Royal Enfield Thunderbird X series of motorcycles as your next big cruiser. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have liked this first impression review sort of a thing which I've tried doing it. And if you guys like it, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys and have a great day ahead. Cheers.